What is good, my people? First in 23, we back. The Oklahoma City Thunder are NBA champions. Give it up for the OKC Thunder. SGA, J-Dub, Chet, the whole squad. They come down with the trophy. We got an NBA podcast today. I'm going to be diving into some things. Probably some NFL stuff coming here later in the week. We got the NBA draft tonight, which is pretty exciting. Looking forward to that a little bit. I'll probably do a reaction to that tomorrow or something. But yeah, like always, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. I kind of wanted to just talk about the Thunder and glaze the Thunder and glaze their big three and talk about how good I think they are. I actually don't have that much to say about the Pacers, but I'm going to give them their credit. They were the second best team in basketball for a large portion of the year ever since they got it going. They had the best offense in the league for most of the year, and I think for the last two playoff runs they had the number one offense. So the Pacers are legit. They're not like no fluke team. They deserve to be there. They earned it. And yes, we will never truly know what happened or what happens if Tyrese doesn't get hurt. But let's not take away from the Thunder, okay? Thunder are great. Let's not poo-poo all over it. This was a great finals. Great finals. Iconic moments. Great playoffs. One of the better playoffs I remember in a while. Clippers, Nuggets was a crazy series. Thunder, Nuggets was a crazy series. A couple other good ones in the East, but those are the main two off the top of my head. The finals was great. Pacers versus Knicks. Pacers knocking down the Bucks. That was impressive. I just really enjoyed the playoffs and the finals. I thought it was great. And Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers had one of, if not the most clutch playoff run of all time with what he did in each series. Hitting a game winner in each series, having multiple games where they were either down and they just never gave up. They stayed true to their pace and they kept going. They kept pushing. Even after a made basket, they just kept going. And at the end of the games where they just caught fire and didn't seem to miss sometimes. And if they did miss, they would just go. Let's get back on D. Let's get a stop. Get the ball to the net. And we're up the floor. And we're going to go 100% till the game's over. It's not a fluke, man. ECF 2 years ago, last year ECF, this year finals. They're legit, man. And the Hali injury is devastating and sad. When I seen it, I was bummed out too. It really hurt. It's very unfortunate, but he's not going nowhere. He's going to miss all of next year, as will Tatum. And that opens the door for your Magic, your Pistons, your Knicks, your Hawks, whoever I'm forgetting, I think the Celtics will be decent still. They traded they're getting rid of, I don't know. They'll be decent. They might sneak into the playoffs. You never know. But it'll be a year for them to just play around and experiment with Anthony Simmons, who I've always kind of liked. And when he first came into the league, I was like, this guy's nice. And then he just put up numbers, and that man is nice. So it's nice to see him with a good organization, but not necessarily championship aspirations at the moment. And most people are saying it's like a rental. I do believe he can be more than a rental if he proves that he can play within that system, proves he can be a winning player on a winning team. And if they keep him this year and he plays good enough to where, we can see this guy as part of our core or whatever, maybe he's a Celtic and he stays and it's not a rental. But regardless, the East is open. Indiana's not going nowhere in terms of the big outlook. They got most of their main guys locked up. Hali and Siakam. Pretty much the whole team, I'm pretty sure, has contracts. I think they got to take care of one more guy. They got the main guys. Pretty sure TJ McConnell got paid, so they got their guys locked up. Not this next year, but the year after that, they'll be right back in the mix as a top contender in the East. So Halliburton's great, man. All that overrated, it was just totally goofy and clowny, and he proved everybody wrong. And if you're still hating on Howie, I don't know what to tell you. You're just hating, and you need to learn you something, because Howie is great. This man was getting disrespected. He was getting thrown in the LaMelo Ball conversations. He was getting called overrated. There's people saying he's not even the best player on his team. This, and that. And this is just bull jive, man. He's awesome. He's elite. He's an offensive engine. One of the best playmakers in the sport. And as you see in the beginning of Game 7, when he's aggressive like that, it's scary. It is honestly scary. I think he needs to take some time away and always stay true to your game, Tyrese, of course. But just in times, you need to add more of that, what we've seen in Game 7, and you getting more downhill, add a couple more moves to your bag rather than just the side to side, add a couple more moves to that, get downhill, get to that floater. His floater game is nasty. I want to see him get more to that floater. I want to see him be more aggressive and like he was in Game 7 and hitting those pull-up threes. When he ties all that in with his playmaking and pace, he's scary. He's really, really good. He's a top 5 point guard. Pretty sure. Off the top of my head, I'll do this list. I might do it today, actually. We'll see. But he's a top 5 point guard. Tyrese is awesome. And now, let's just get straight to it. The Thunder are a great team. They are a great team. I seen Colin Cowherd on his thing, kind of poo-pooing them a little bit, saying they're not all that. They're a good team. I think they're a great team. All right. All-time great? I don't really know. They're all-time defense, I'll tell you that. They had a couple bumps along the way, as does any young team in their first real playoff run, finals run, It's not... Think about it. This is the youngest team to win the finals in nearly 50 years. If you don't think that matters, like them being young, like it does. Look at the Warriors early. They had some struggles and ups and downs. And Steph had some clunkers. Look at the Celtics when they played the Warriors in their first finals. Easily could have took that shit, but were overpowered by the smartness and eliteness and strategic chess match between the Warriors and Draymond and Andrew Wiggins locking down and Steph being Steph. Teams this young and experienced aren't supposed to win this much or be winning like this or win an NBA Finals, really. We haven't seen it in nearly 50 years, a team this young with, if you really think about it, their vets are Ihart and Caruso. I'm pretty sure Caruso's not some old-ass guy. Like, he's still in his late 20s, if I'm not mistaken. So, if I said they don't have even a real vet, they have vet Caruso and Ihart, but they don't have a real vet. Shea's been in the league for a while, so he's on his way. He's an established player. He's not no young gun anymore. But someone like Chet is literally like 23. In my age. Like, 23. We're still making mistakes. We're still not fully formed yet. We still don't have it all. In the NBA, like, still don't know the game 100%. I'll get more into that later. Teams this young and inexperienced aren't supposed to win the shit. So, to me, they're ahead of the curve. They're already ahead of what they're going to be. And they're only going to be better next year. They could possibly even make a move, and with the draft tonight, pretty sure they have pick like 16. They can hit on that draft pick. And their pick last year, Topic, if he can play, that's another guy that could be in the rotation that they could use a secondary ball handler, Yeah, it's just only going up. And when Denver won the championship, we all kind of thought that they could rattle off a few more and maybe become like a mini dynasty. And they could have, because they have the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic, and a top 5 offensive player ever in Nikola Jokic. But they didn't play their cards right in every way. They had to pay some guys, and they gave out some big contracts, and they had to let certain guys go, like Bruce Brown and KCP, who were pivotal to their championship run. And now we're here, where they're a good team, but Porter's hurt, and he's playing with a messed up arm, and Gordon's banged up and he has to play through injury, and Jamal Murray has to play like a star, and if he doesn't play like a star, they don't really have a chance. So for them to have a chance, they need Jamal Murray to play like a star, which he can, but he can also be inconsistent or banged up or whatever the case, and they're just very Jokic dependent. Porter banged up, not healthy. Gordon, he gets banged up. Jamal Murray, he does time to time, and he needs to play like a star for him to have a chance. And that makes them very Jokic dependent. And the Nuggets should be looking to be aggressive. to make a move, to add a piece, to make a big splash. And they seem content on just running it back from what we know now. Maybe if they hit a draft pick and make like any type of move, then maybe they're better than last year. But I think Jokic is one of the best offensive players ever and has the ability to be like an all time great, like top 10 type of guy. And I just want to see him win another ring. So it kind of bums me out that they're like, I don't know. I just wish they'd be more aggressive and just try and make the most out of having one of the best offensive players ever. I thought KD would have been a good fit there, but he's a Rocket, and we'll get into that too. That's very great. That's a very good fit too. They're content on just running it back, and it doesn't look like the Nuggets will be a dynasty or even a mini dynasty, but hopefully they do win more. But the Thunder are different. They're one of the youngest title teams ever. Average age of their core is 24. Shea is young. He's 26, 27. J-Dub is young. He's 24, 25. Chet is 23. Their big three are all very young and in their primes, and in Chet and J-Dub's case, just getting into their prime, or not even in their prime in Chet's case. Still got a long way to go. Most title teams peak in their late 20s. This team is already winning this early. The new CBA kills super teams with the aprons and all of that cap stuff that I'll have to learn and get a little bit more hip on, but that new CBA stuff, it kills super teams and prevents super teams from happening with the contracts and all that stuff and the aprons, but not necessarily homegrown ones. Under the new CBA, second apron teams can't aggregate salaries in trades, use mid-level exceptions, take back more salary than they can send out, sign buyout players mid-season. This punishes teams who stack high salary vets, like Clippers, Suns, Warriors a little bit, but it doesn't hurt OKC because they drafted and developed their own superstars outside of Shea, which they got him very young. People would be like, yeah, he got traded. Shea got traded. And he was still young. Like, this was before he blew up. And Presti and the Thunder, they seen something. Even Doc Rivers, they seen something in Shea. And they made the move for him early before he blew up as a superstar. They can plan their extensions smartly. And they're deep without needing to overpay vets. Or they're deep without needing overpaid vets. They don't rely on aging stars. No aging max contract. Vets like KD, LeBron, Kawhi, Harden, etc. Their big three, J-Dub, Chet, SGA, are all guys under the age of 27. Role guys like Caruso, Dort, Hartenstein, these guys are still in their primes. That gives OKC a 5 to 7 year window with internal growth before tough choices even hit. Their big three, this is one of the most important parts. Their big three is sustainable and will be locked in. Chet, J-Dub, and SGA, they're going to be able to keep them. So this is why when people like Denver, when we thought Denver was going to win it, they would be becoming a mini dynasty, and has been a different NBA champion in the last 7 years. This is why the OKC Thunder, out of all teams, have a chance to be a legit dynasty, because they are different. They have homegrown stars. They traded for SGA when he was young. They drafted and developed a team who already won their first title and is only going to get better. They're going to keep their big three. And that's the biggest part about it. As long as they can keep that big three, they can build around that core, because they have all these young, cheaper guys, and they have a boatload of draft picks. So even when you have to pay these other guys and they're going to want to go somewhere else to make more money or whatever, we have draft picks to either trade for commodities or players or vets, or just draft cheap young talent. But yeah, their big three is sustainable and will be locked in. SJ is already signed long term, and whatever the case, he's going to re-sign. He's going to get his bag extension. He's going to be there. And J-Dub will be eligible. They'll get locked in. They're going to get signed. They're not going nowhere. So they'll keep that big three. All three are unselfish, and they know how to play together, and they fit together seamlessly. No ego issues, no overlapping skill sets, and they complement each other almost perfectly. You got elite coaching plus culture. Dagnall, at sometimes, for me personally, he had a couple head scratchers. That game they lost to the Nuggets with the fouling and stuff, and there was another time he did it, and then the lineup switches. But overall, he knows what he's doing. He's a good coach. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a better coach. He's the coach of the year caliber mind, with elite X's and O's. The Thunder have a system. They don't just have stars. It's a real system. Everyone knows their role. They blend modern offense with suffocating, switch-heavy defense, and they care on both ends. Massive draft war chest. Still own 13-plus future first-round picks through the tweets. Flexibility to trade for another star. Package picks to move up for a blue-chip prospect, or continue adding cheap elite role players. No team since the pre-KD Warriors had this level of championship foundation plus future ammo. And they have an elite two-way identity. SGA is one of the most efficient 30-point per game scorers ever. Elite spacing, smart ball movement, elite pace, elite mid-range game. He's a master. Defense. They just won a title with one of the best defenses in modern playoff history. The best defense since the 04 Pistons. Probably a top 6, top 8, top 5 defense ever. Versatility, rim protection, and perimeter switchability across the board. The best young defensive team since the 04 Pistons. And they have a super scorer, and they have a superstar scorer as well to add to that. And SGA. And Chet will only grow as an offensive player, and J-Dub will only grow as an offensive player as well. Few teams in NBA history have had a young championship core like this. No cap drama or locker room issues. A stockpile of picks, a proven system-based coach, no weak link in the starting five, and the ability to still improve. So it's like, when people were like, oh, I don't know. Well, the team's young, and they're only going to get better, and they still have all this ammo to prevent whatever bad may happen after we have to pay guys. We still have this ammo and these draft picks, which we've shown we can hit on. We're going to hit on our picks. You're not going to hit on every pick. Everybody misses. But for the most part, this group has shown that they're really good at scouting. They really know what they're doing. They're going to hit on most of their picks. So if out of anybody, the Thunder have the best chance to be a dynasty or a winning dynasty, or to at least win multiple titles. Like, I think they'll probably win. At least they're going to win one more title. At least. The 2025. I don't know what's going on my camera right now. I apologize. I need to get a ring light. But yeah, sorry about that. The show continues. Please don't mind the camera. The 2025 Thunder are not a fluke. They're a foundational, sustainable powerhouse, and one of the few NBA teams in the modern NBA with real dynasty potential. The rest of the league needs to adjust now, because the OKC Thunder are coming, and they're just getting started, and they're only going to get better. And the postseason wasn't as good, as the regular season. A dominant all-time regular season, 68 wins. But they were a young team on their first real final playoff run. Plus, look what they had to go through. Very dominant West. Nuggets team with the best offensive player ever, who had just went through a 7-game gauntlet with the Clippers, who were a really, really good team, who could have easily won the East. I think the Clippers could have won the East. And then they had to go through... Well, they dominated the Grizzlies. They dominated them. Literally dominated. Even the game that I think the Grizzlies were up 40 points, the Thunder still coming back and winning that. I think that was the game where Ja got hurt later in the game. But regardless, they were going to sweep them. Ja got hurt. Ja didn't get hurt. Even if, say, Ja doesn't get hurt that game and they win that game, they were going to gentlemen sweep them. Come on. Dominated the Grizzlies. Went through anybody trying to take away from the Thunder, that Nuggets series was crazy. That was in itself its own finals, the Nuggets team is good, and especially when you have the best offensive player ever, he's gonna elevate all of the players around him. So they were a good team, and they took them 7 for a reason, because they have the best offensive player ever. And they are that good. So, dominated the Grizzlies, went through a crazy 7-game series versus the Nuggets, then went on to Minnesota, where they took care of them. I love Ant, but I remember being at the court right before the series started, and I was just, with the guys, and I was they were talking about, and I just said right there, this is going to be different. I don't really necessarily know. They're not going to just beat the Thunder. It's going to be how a series. Thunder are probably going to win. They're not going to have the best player on the court. And they were just yo, take a plane to OKC or something. As if I'm some OKC fan. I sounded kind of like one, but I'm not. I am what I am. I do what I do. I really analyze this stuff. I really, I was right. I'm not a homer in any way. I'm not biased in any way. I love Steph Curry. Steph Curry is my favorite player ever, along with Kobe and a couple other guys, but those are my main 2 favorite players ever, Steph and Kobe. Steph isn't the best point guard anymore right now. I'm not going to be unreasonable about it, He's top 3. But he's a top 6-7 player still. Went on to play a crazy 7-game series against the Nuggets, and that makes total sense. That's perfectly feasible going against the best offensive player ever in Jokic. He's just that good. And then next round, took care of the Wolves, and then had a hell of a series against Indiana, and ultimately took care of them too. Went to Game 7. We'll never know what happened if Tyrese stays healthy. If you want to say that they win, that's fair. That's fair, but we'll never really truly know, so you can't just be like, oh, they would have won 100%, blah, 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 blah. Maybe they could have won. If you want to say that, okay, that's fair. We never know. I still would have picked the Thunder to win. I still think the Thunder would have won if Hali was healthy, but the way that it started out was he was knocking them threes down, man. He was aggressive, man. He was looking good, and it just sucks that happened. But you just can't take away from what they did. The OKC Thunder are champions. They're a great team. Out of the last 7 title winners, they're not 6th like Colin had them ranked. They're better than that. Colin's sleeping on the Thunder. At least this one. Yes, they will get better, but this Thunder team still isn't the 6th best out of the last 7 who won a chip. Remarkable championship campaign. Top 2 net rating in NBA history. 68 wins. I see Nurse say this, kind of similar to 2015 Warriors or 2000 Lakers squad, but the regular season is it is all-time stuff. The regular season is unbelievable. They had a great season, 68 wins. They were dominating everybody. I think they had the biggest point differential. They're locking teams up, locking everybody up, and the postseason isn't going to be necessarily pretty or perfect their first time around, especially for a team this young and really on their first real playoff run. But in the regular season, it was just historic stuff, historic domination. Franchise best record, 68 wins, securing the best win total, 84 combined regular plus playoff wins since the 96-97 Bulls, and the youngest team to win a title in nearly 50 years. They belong in an elite tier with the KD Warriors, LeBron Heat Cavs, Spurs Dynasty, Lakers in the 2000s, and 2025 Thunder. Now, all those teams are better than them and would probably beat them. And maybe they're a little bit stepped down, but they're not that far off from the teams, I would say. They're not that far off. Those teams are better. Maybe they're not totally in the same tier with them, but they're close to that, okay? And the team checks a lot of boxes. Young core with sustainable upside, defensive identity, plus analytics efficiency, championship level mindset, mental toughness. And SGA is one of the most efficient scoring guards ever. Scoring prowess. In the regular season, he was the leader with 32.7 points per game and became the highest scoring finals MVP ever, narrowly surpassing Michael Jordan's 1993 mark. He averaged 30.5, 4.5 rebounds a game, and 2 steals and 1.5 blocks. Elite across the board. He has a significant two-way impact, unlike a Harden or unlike a Luka. In Game 5 of the Finals, he logged 31 points, 10 assists, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. That was just a magnificent game. That's one of them just gems of a game in a final series. So to act like he wasn't that game right there just shows you he had one for sure gem of a game. 31, 10, 4 blocks, 2 steals, showcasing offensive efficiency and defensive versatility. And I even made a whole episode about this that I never dropped, but people like J-Mac Jason McAteer from the Herd, before the series even started, was still calling SGA a free throw merchant. He was hating on him before the series started, and he hasn't. After the finals, he didn't come back to the Herd. He's on vacation or something. He probably knew all of this. That's why before the series, he got on TV. It was SJ's a free throw merchant, and he's not all this. So now he said he's a free throw merchant, and he said he would take 7 guys over him. I don't know if he said that exactly before in that same rant, but he definitely said that not too long ago. He would take 7 guys over him. And at the very worst, I want y'all to listen to this. He's top 5. I think it is just outright wrong to put Luka Doncic ahead of SGA, considering what we've seen from Luka on the defensive end, and SGA doesn't have that problem. And we just seen SGA lead his team to the finals and actually accomplish and win the title. And what we've seen from Luka, where he's literally just terrible on defense. We don't have that. And we have a similar offensive game from SGA, the best scorer in the league, okay? And Luka's a better passer, but SGA's impact on offense is almost similar. The way he can just get a bucket and score and then get to the paint and draw attention, it helps create opportunities for others. So with Luka being terrible on the defensive end, out of shape at times, injured and banged up, I think it's totally unfair to say that he's better than SGA. When we see SGA be an elite two-way player, a reliable defender, a good defender, all defense caliber defender, MVP, a conference finals MVP, a finals MVP, he's not better than SGA right now. Does he have the talent and capacity to be better than SGA? Yes. Luka probably has the capacity to be the best player in the world. But to still say that he's better than, come on, let's just be fair. All right? Let's just be fair. At worst, SGA is top 5. All right? Sheesh. But people like J-Mac, before the series even started, was still calling him a free throw merchant, which we put to bed, which we debunked already, is total garbage and bullshit. All right? And continue to hate on him even further, and even called him Harden 2.0. He called Jason McIntyre, before the finals started, called SGA Harden 2.0. And that's no disrespect to Harden. Harden's good, great in his own little way. But that is just one of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Because even when he said that, he'd already proved that wrong, that he's a Harden 2.0. Even before, like, I made an episode literally when he said that, debunking that. I just never dropped it. So I'm addressing it now. He's not Harden 2.0. Because one of the biggest things about Harden was in the playoffs, he shrinks and he's not the same player. And SGA didn't do that at all. When he got in the playoffs, he was still playing good. If anything, he rose. He's a playoff riser, if anything. Unlike Harden, where he's a playoff dropper, and that's one of his main things. So that was just one of the stupidest, dumbest shits ever. It's completely false. Whatever you think, peak Harden, peak for peak. If you think peak for peak Harden is better, that's a whole nother discussion. Peak for peak Harden, Shea. If you think Harden's better, that's a whole nother discussion. I don't really care about that. I probably personally go peak SGA over Harden. That's a whole another thing. I don't think it should be a big deal. I take peak SGA over peak Harden. If you want peak Harden, sure, fine. But my guy rises in the playoffs and doesn't drop. And he has actually shown that he can win a title. And Harden, closest Harden ever got to winning a title, he wasn't even a starter necessarily. And yeah, they took my dubs to that game 7 or whatever, Chris Paul, and then they had that bad game 7. But yeah, I probably go peak SGA, and I think this season is better than any Harden season. But regardless, they play different, and they rely on a different shot diet. And SGA is a way more proven, committed defender. That is inarguable. In Harden's peak prime, he had moments where when he wanted to, he could try, and he could get steals and stuff, but that's not SGA. SGA is, for the most part, always committed. And, of course, there's going to be a couple plays where he doesn't give you the biggest effort, but overall, SGA is all defensive caliber defender. This season, 2025, SGA is, for at least me, better than any Harden season. SGA just put together one of the most efficient, complete scoring seasons by a guard in NBA history, capped off by NBA championship, finals MVP, all-NBA first team, 30 points per game in the finals, historic mid-range efficiency, elite decision-making, and clutch scoring. And then there was a couple games in the finals where he didn't have that elite decision-making, where he was being a little bit too selfish, where he could have made more. And the games where he didn't have a lot of assists and wasn't playmaking at a high level, they were either losing or underperforming. And his game, it wasn't stat padding on a mid-tier team. This was alpha dog basketball at the highest level, with playoff level physicality, double teams, and elite defenses. And he delivered every round. The Harden 2.0 comparison that J-Mac dared to give before the series started, and then after the series, he's nowhere to be found, is lazy and false. If you're talking stylistically, the two are more different than you would think. Shot diet, Harden in his peak. Heavy ISO, step backs, and deep threes. SGA now, mid-range master, paint slasher. He has some pull-up 3 games. Pace, Harden, heliocentric, a little ball stopping. SGA, controlled, in rhythm, flow. Defense, liability, most years, Harden. SGA, elite, point of attack, and help defender, and roamer. Being able to get steals, reach in, get the lanes, swipe it from drivers, get blocks. Leadership, questionable in big moments from Harden. SGA leadership, you question SGA's leadership? Anyone out here question SGA's leadership? He carried a team to a title. A young team at that, with not very many vets, which are vets being Caruso, free throw drawing, manipulative fouling for Harden. And yeah, SGA does the same type of thing, but I don't think he does it as bad. He attacks with contact and with craft. And I know that sounds like glazing, but regardless, most of what I said there is true. Sure, Harden was productive, historically productive, and he has one of the best seasons ever, scoring seasons, one of the best isolation scorers. I'm not hating on Harden. I'm just defending SGA from being called Harden 2.0 from J-Mac. But he often flamed out in big moments, Harden did. And SGA, he rose to the moment. He rose above it. It was never too big for him. He had big games. He had game 7s. He had a historical game 6, game 5. All right? He had crazy playoff games. And he had some stinkers, but it never led to him just flaming out and losing. He just won a ring with elite poise and very little weakness in his approach. Defense matters, and SGA is light years ahead of what Harden was. Shea isn't just a good defender for a star guard. He's borderline genuinely elite. Great instincts in passing lanes. Great roamer is what he operates in that OKC defense. Strong on-ball fundamentals. Disruptive hands and clutch plays. Fully bought in every possession, or most of every possession. Yes, there were some times where he let up a little bit. Harden has never had a playoff run as a two-way force like SGA had. Not even close. And let's just be real. Even before this series started is when J-Mac made this, and I made an episode debunking that. But even after that, so even before it was totally false. But now, him winning a ring, that changes everything even 1,000 times more. Damn. You can debate peak for peak all you want. I probably lean SGA. But this isn't just about numbers. SGA carried a young homegrown roster, took down elite teams. SGA just had consistent playoff excellence. Over 19 playoff games, posted 31 points per game, 6.6 assists per game, and 5.7 rebounds per game. 51% field goal and 38.5% three-point shooting. Elite efficiency, regular season, true shooting percentage was stellar. 56.9% with league-leading 47.3 efficient field goal percentage. Effective field goal percentage. I apologize. And with that, I'm going to get into how good I kind of think SGA's season was, and the player seasons I would take over him, and why it's not disrespectful. Here's the short list of individual lead guard seasons you could argue clearly top what SGA just did. 1991 Michael Jordan, or any peak Michael Jordan season. 31 points, 31.5 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 5.5 assists per game, 3.2 stocks, 61% true shooting, all NBA first, all defensive first, MVP, finals MVP, dominated both ends and won the title. The blueprint. Clear GOAT season. One of the most complete seasons in NBA history, Michael Jordan. So I'm taking Michael Jordan's best seasons over SGA. 87 Magic. 23.9 points per game, 12.2 assists per game, 6.3 rebounds per game on absurd efficiency. MVP, NBA champion, finals MVP. Arguably the greatest offensive engine ever that season. Peak floor general. Led maybe the most efficient offense. Led 2016 Curry or the best Steph Curry's. I'm taking the best Steph Curry seasons over SGA. 30 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 6.7 assists per game, 50-45-91 shooting, unanimous MVP, 73-9 Warriors, best record ever. We all know what happened in the end. Yeah. Offensive revolution in real time. Didn't win the chip that season, but the most efficient scoring season ever. And Kobe. 26.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. Finals MVP, killer instinct, elite two-way play, plus the title. Emotional, legacy-defining run post-Shaq. True alpha title run, complete guard dominance. And then I said maybe Jerry West, 9 or 70 season, but it's before my time, pre-modern era. No three-point line, different rules, and hard to compare. So where does SGA 2025 land? He belongs right behind those seasons, in the tier where you're only putting him behind the all-time greatest legends at their absolute best. That's how rare this season is. SGA 2025, 30.5 points per game playoffs, 31.2 points per game finals, efficient two-level scoring, 50, 39, 89 splits, elite defense, clutch scoring, leadership, NBA champion, finals MVP, regular season MVP, conference MVP, all NBA first team, all defense caliber defender, led historic defense and efficient offense, carried a young team, two-way excellence, no real weakness. Final take, unless you're talking peak Jordan seasons, peak Magic, peak Steph seasons, peak Kobe, maybe a couple other, but that's really the list. That's the main guys. You know, you can get into Luka and Harden and AI. You can have those. I'm putting SGA season over that, okay? That's me personally. But after peak Jordan, peak Magic, peak Curry, peak Kobe, it's 25 season is right there. And better than most guard seasons ever. I'm not crazy for saying it. I'm not crazy for saying it might be better than Harden's, which I think it is. Harden's MVP season. Iverson's 0-1 season, who a lot of people think is one of the best seasons ever. I think SGA's season is above that. Luka's best season, or Wade 2006, depending on how you weigh efficiency, defense, and leadership. And that is that. I love Shea. Look, Shea's not my favorite player, but I respect greatness. All right? So I'm going to give those players respect. My favorite players right now, Steph Curry's still playing, as you can see. Steph Curry, my favorite player. I can't lie, Paul George used to be my favorite player too, so I can't necessarily just shit on him. I mean, he's not really my favorite player anymore, but it's really Steph and D-Book. Those are my favorite players right now. And I have my guys, I like Jokic, I like SGA, but Steph and D-Book, my main guys. I really used to like De'Aaron Fox, I like De'Aaron Fox. He's up there too. And now on to Chet, because I have some friends and some people hating on Chet. And if you don't think Chet is good and is going to be really, really, really good, you're just tripping. Chet just anchored one of the best postseason defenses of the modern era. And he was the most important defender in the finals. He wasn't just impactful, he was game-breaking. Plus 3.1 defensive EPM in the playoffs. Number one by a wide margin. Plus 13.6 on-off swing in the finals. Plus 15.4 defensive. 1.9 blocks per game across the 2025 playoffs. Held opponents to 15% below their field goal percentage at the rim. So he's an elite rim protector. 0.69 points allowed per isolation. Elite switch defense on guards, wings, and bigs. 90 plus percentile post-up defender. The Chet gets bullied myth by these bigger guys, that's a myth and it's cooked. And yes, Jokic gave him some problems, but he's Nikola Jokic. In Game 7 of the finals, Chet delivered one of the best individual defensive performances of the entire playoffs. He switched everything, protected the rim flawlessly, and was crucial on the boards. Chet is the first player in NBA history to record 18-plus points and 5-plus blocks in the Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Yes, his offense was inconsistent during the playoffs, especially from deep, but he still had efficient nights where he let the game come to him. He scored 18 in Game 7 in the biggest moment of his young career. He's shown the ability to dribble, pass, and shoot at 7 feet tall. That doesn't go away. It's just going to grow, if anything. He's 23 years old. He's young. He's a baby. He's barely played a lot of NBA games. He's played like a total of like 1.5 seasons, really, if you really think about it. He's played 140 total NBA games. He just won a ring as a defensive anchor. This is probably the worst version of him we'll ever see. His defensive presence let OKC switch everything and some other spacing-based offenses. His rim protection let him perimeter defenders play aggressive without fear. His mobility and IQ helped cover up mistakes and elevate the team to a top 5 all-time level defense. The future is scary. A 7-foot unicorn with perimeter defense instincts, rim protection, and a guard-like skill set. A champion before he's old enough to rent a car, pretty much. The exact kind of modern big that can dominate without scoring 25 a night. So, if you don't think Chet's good, man, that's you. And he's elite. He's a top 30 guy. He's only going to get better. It's only going to go up from here. So, and now on to the Thunder defense, which is a top 7, top 5 all-time defense. Number 1 defense in the NBA this year. Led the league with a 107.5 defensive rating. Dominant net rating. Recorded plus 12.8 net rating. The best single-season differential since the legendary 96 Bulls. All-time stock leaders. Averaged 20.4 steals. Plus 5.7 blocks per game. Highest such combined average in NBA history. Turnover beaters. One of the best teams ever in turning defense into offense. During the finals, They forced 23 turnovers in 5 games, disrupting Indy's rhythm and limiting their stint chances. Now, I'm going to rank my last 7 NBA champions. It was Thunder, Celtics, Nuggets, I think Warriors, Bucks, Lakers, and Raptors. For my number 1, it was between the Celtics and the Thunder. It's between them. I'm just going to go Thunder just to do it. Fuck it. But it's really between them. It's a battle. You can really pick whoever you want there. And disclaimer, Colin had the 2020 Lakers number 1. And I actually do get that. I don't hate that. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do actually think the 2020 Lakers could beat any and every team on this list in a 7-game series. And that's not necessarily how I'm ranking this list. Is not who would beat each other. If that was the way, then Lakers probably will be number 1. But it's between the Celtics and Thunder for the number 1. And I'm going to just give it to the Thunder for the number 1 team. They are both the best teams since the KD Warriors, in my opinion. Celtics of 2024, elite two-way team, top 3 defense and offense all season. Blew through the playoffs. Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White, Porzingis, no weak link. Thunder 2025, unique, switch-heavy defense, deep lineup. SGA at 30 points per game final scorer, Chet's defensive versatility, very Spurs-esque identity with better pace spacing. Celtics would have given the Thunder a tough series and maybe win, and also vice versa. The difference for me here is I do think the Celtics are probably better top to bottom, more veteran power, probably better top to bottom roster. Tatum, Drew, Brown, Derek White's awesome, Porzingis, Horford, etc. But really what does it for me is I do think in that series, SGA would be the best player in that series. So, and I actually do think Chet and J-Dub are better than Jaylen Brown. Now, coming into last year, after that title run, Brown was probably viewed as a higher player than both of them. But after this playoff run, I think Chet and J-Dub are better, and I think they will stay better, and I don't think they will pass him. Or I don't think he will pass them. So, number 1, 2025 Thunder, one of the best defenses ever. Shea averaged 30 in the finals. Youngest championship core since the Spurs early 2000s. Possibly beats 24 Celtics in a 7-game war, and vice versa. Number 2, 2024 Celtics. Deep, versatile, elite defense plus offense. Beat a healthy West team convincingly. Likely would have gone toe-to-toe with OKC 25. And at first, for number 3, I had the Nuggets. And this is also another battle. It's between them and the Lakers. I'm going to try to think right now who I would... You know what? I think I'm going to give this to the Lakers. I think number 3, I'll go Lakers. I'll go Lakers for number 3. So you got Thunder, Celtics, and Lakers. Originally you had Nuggets, but I'm going to go Lakers. Bubble title, but still dominant. I'm not going to take away because they won the bubble. I think the bubble had its unique and its own challenges in itself, but dominant 16-5 playoff run. LeBron, well, not necessarily peak LeBron, but close to peak LeBron and AD. Defense, size made them a bad matchup for everyone. They have the best duo out of any of these teams, LeBron and AD, and that roster was actually pretty well constructed. And in the beginning of that year, they were dominant. They were like 20-3, something like that. And the following year, they were pretty good until LeBron got hurt or whatever. So 3, I got 20 Lakers. 4, I'll go 23 Nuggets. Jokic at his peak. Possibly the best playoff run by a big since Shaq KG. I think he's just the best offensive player ever, or top 3 offensive player ever. Beat the Heat easily. Got through the West. Pick and roll dominance plus elite chemistry. And then number 5, I'm going to go 2022 Warriors. I love the Warriors. That's my favorite team. Steph's my favorite player. The reason why I like the Warriors is because I fell in love with California. And when I was young, my pops got me a Steph Curry jersey for Christmas. Shout out, Pops. And ever since then, he just became a favorite player. And he gave me the jersey before they blew up winning-wise. And this is literally it was perfect timing. He got me the Curry jersey before he blew up into one of the best players in the league. It was the season before. The season before he was good, but then after I got the jersey and that following season he was insane. That's when he put himself in that top 3, top 5 best player in the world conversation. Great title run, but weaker finals opponent. Celtics young in the main stars first run. That's finals MVP, but overall team wasn't as deep as some other years. 2019 Raptors won the title despite my bad, that we're not there yet. 22 Warriors for number 5. The last run, it was towards the end, but regardless, that team was all right. Steph was playing really good. Andrew Wiggins was playing real good. Still had Clay, Draymond, Poole gave you some. And then for number 6, I went Raptors ahead of Bucks. You can flip the two. Those could be flipped, but I just went Raptors because I like the overall team a little bit more with Kawhi, Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and the other role guys. They won the title despite KD Clay injuries. Kawhi was peak assassin mode. Elite team play, great defense. Still deserves respect for finishing the job. And then last, I go 21 Bucks. Giannis was all time. He had an all time final performance, 50 in the closeout. He was great, but I just don't really necessarily love that team as much as the other teams. And I'm not trying to take away, but I just think they're last. I feel like them being last is better than like the Raptors being last or Thunder being sixth. So, yeah. Giannis was great, but they slightly benefited from injuries from Brooklyn and not as complete as other teams in this list. So, yeah, don't sleep on the Thunder. They are a great team, borderline all-time team. SGA has a top 7 guard peak of all time. There are very few. There's like 5-6 guys seasons I would take over him. Thunder are the best young defense to 04 Pistons and one of the top 5 defenses ever. And yeah, Thunder are great. Feel bad for Hali. Feel bad for the Pacers, but the Pacers aren't going nowhere. As soon as Hali comes back from injury, season after next, they'll be right in the mix. And now, I want to talk a little bit about the KD trade. I don't have too much on the, what Celtics did. I think KP's good. I think it's a buy low for Atlanta. I think Atlanta's going to be feisty. I actually do like them. With Trae Young, top 30 player. KP, if he can stay healthy, he can contribute. Johnson's hell of a young player. Tyson Daniels is a all defense guy, one of the best defenders in the league. So I like that. Anthony Simmons, I like him as a player. I want to see how that goes. It's at least going to be interesting. Maybe he's a rental, maybe he's not. Maybe he does become a part of their core. I don't know. But there's a couple other trades that happen, like Jordan Poole and McCollum, a couple other stuff. But I don't have much on that right now. But KD to the Rockets, I kind of love that. He is actually, everyone's saying this obviously, but he is exactly what they needed. He really is, because their half-court offense was that's the one thing they're missing. And the fact they were able to take the Warriors to 7 games, he probably looks at that and goes, oh wow, this team was able to take that Warriors team to 7. If I were to play them again, I could be the differentiator. I could be the separator. I could be the piece that puts this team over the top. We beat the Warriors. We beat Steph, and that's going to have a good look for me beating the Warriors in a playoff series. So he probably looks at that, and that's what they need. He puts them above. He puts them they were a 2 seed. They were a good team, but no one took them serious as a real title contender. Now with KD, they're legit. I would actually rank them probably second in the West as of now. I'm going to do probably that power ranking, way too early ranking tomorrow I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it soon. I'm going to do it next episode, but I was just going to wait till after the draft. But KD, he's still a top 10-ish guy. KD's legit. If he would have stayed healthy for the whole season, he probably would have made my first All-NBA team too. And he would have been a perfect fit on that team. He would have been the perfect 5th guy for that team. But they chose Donovan Mitchell, which I don't hate either. But this is why KD is still a top 10 player. He's still the most efficient scorer in the game. Among 58 players who took 500-plus shots in 24-25, KD was the only one to make over 50%. Shea, the league MVP, was second, and he hit 45%. When weighing it for threes, KD still ranked number 1 in points per shot, 1.22. A stat that blends shot selection, spacing, and efficiency. That's not just good, that's untouchable scoring efficiency. And it's even more valuable in the playoffs where the game slows down. And that's where the Rockets could use him too. Elite isolation scorer. KD was clearly the best ISO player this season in the NBA. When teams switch everything, overhelp, or flatten the play, you need a guy who can get you a bucket in a phone booth. And KD's still that guy. His footwork, length, and release point remain unguardable even at age 35. His shot quality actually improved this year. KD made over 200 pull-up jumpers off the dribble this season while shooting over 50% on them. No one else in the NBA even came close to matching that blend of volume and efficiency. It shows that KD's bag isn't reliant on others. He can still create on his own and carry possessions. Why KD is a perfect fit for the Rockets. Veteran shot maker that they desperately needed. They have a lineup of young, athletic guys outside of Fred VanVleet, who I think is great that they kept Fred VanVleet because he gives you that veteran leadership that they need when you have KD on your team. The Rockets have an exciting young talent. Men, Jabari Smith, Sengun, Tari Eason, Reed Shepard, but none of them are reliable late game shot creators yet. KD gives them a closer and steady hand. A closer and a steady hand, especially in the playoffs. Perfect off-ball fit with Fred VanVleet and Sengun. KD doesn't need high usage to dominate, but he can, as you've seen with the ISO numbers and pull-up jumper numbers, but he can also play off ball. He can flow within the offense and attack mismatches and provide elite spacing. That complements Sengun's playmaking and FWV's drive and kick style perfectly. Emi Udoka preaches toughness and accountability. KD adds legitimacy to that system. Unlike past prime stars, KD's game has aged gracefully because it's based on skill, not athleticism. He's not slowing down like others at his age. KD is still elite, the most efficient jump shooter in the league, the best ISO scorer, and a pull-up master. No signs of decline yet. It still has at least like 2 years of this type of play. He's a perfect fit for a team like the Rockets that needs some scoring maturity, spacing, and someone who can close games in April and May. And I do think this makes the Rockets a legit team, legit contender. And I would probably put them second right now in the West behind OKC Thunder. And I think that's going to do it all for me today. We got some more good content coming. Got the NBA draft. I'm probably going to react to that. I got a top 10 point guards list I want to drop. I got a top 10 NBA players list I want to drop. I want to do a running back ranking. I'm going to get back into the NFL pretty soon. Talk about Chargers, Vikings, all that stuff. Big storylines. But everyone, like and comment on this video. Let me know your thoughts. Send me any questions, any thoughts, anything, any reactions, whatever you want. Please like and subscribe and share and just show me some love. I really appreciate it. I really need it. First and 23 fam. We're out. We'll be back soon, though. Appreciate you guys. Love.